Namaste children. Here we are going to have a very small session on the topic water or water. We are starting this chapter, this beautiful chapter with water or water poem. Just look at the first few lines that we had already discussed in this previous class. Water. I will wash my face with water, said Munna to his nanny. We all quench our thirst with water. We are all alive because of water. Water has been with us for ages. Its story can fill so many pages. So when you look at these 4 lines, here it is mentioned about the uses of water. As you see here, I will wash my face with water and we all quench our thirst. So we use water to wash my face and to fill our thirst, and we are all alive. We are able to stay alive because of water. We cannot think a day without the use of water. So we all are alive because of water. And towards the end of this 4 lines, it has been saying that water has been with us for ages. And if you start writing the story related to water, it can fill so many pages because that much this water is being associated, it has been closely connected with us. So in this whole paragraph, it is explained about the uses of water. So let's move on to this poem further. What is that further lines explains? Somewhere it is dew, somewhere it is snow. Steam is also water, as you know. Water has forms so many. That is what says my nanny. So here the nanny explains more about the water to her. Nanny explained the water has many forms. What are the different forms you can see the water? Sometimes it is as dew, sometimes it is as snow, and even sometimes you can see the water as steam. So these are the different forms of water. The dew means small water droplets. When you come out the house in the early morning, you can see small water droplets on the leaves and the flowers. So that is dew. And sometimes it is snow. Snow means ice, as water you can see as very hard. So in hard form, so that is snow. And sometimes you can see the water as steam, as a vapor. You cannot even see the water. It just water. When you steam, when you heat the water, you can see the water turns into vapor, into steam. So the water takes different forms. The one is dew and one is snow. And water takes the form of snow when it is very cold. When it's extreme cold, the water turns so hard. So water takes the form of snow. And the water even takes the form of vapor or steam. So here it's explained about different forms of water. So let's move on further. The river flow, the waterfalls sing, and water swells in lakes and springs. So in these 2 lines, it is explained about the water that you can see in different places, in different ways. Just see, the river flows, the waterfalls sing, and water swells in lakes and springs. You can see the water in different places. The first is river, and you can see in waterfalls and in lakes and springs. So in all these places, the flow of water is quite different. The river, the water flows as calm. And waterfalls, you must have seen the waterfalls, how heavily the water falls from big mountains. So the water falls, and you can even hear the sounds of the water falling from high peaks. So the waterfalls sing, and water swells in lakes and springs, in small lakes and springs, and you can see the water swells in. You can see the small waves of water and the water flowing in different ways. So here in these two lines, it's explained what are the different sources of water, or where do you see the water. And we can see the water in river, waterfalls, lakes and springs. So it's explained about the different sources of water, or where do you see the water, or where does the water goes that we get from the rain. Now let's move on to the last 4 lines of this beautiful poem. Life on earth it has brought, watered fields and life they got. So in these 2 lines it is explained again about the importance of water. Life on earth is possible only with the water. The water is important for all living beings, including plants, animals and even human beings. So that is what is mentioned here. Life on earth is possible only with water, and watered fields and life they have got. So all the plants are able to grow only with water, and the life on this earth is possible only with this water. So the Nani stresses again about the importance of water. But when the water breaks in floods, great misfortune it always works. So the last 2 lines, the Nani explain what happens when the water breaks in floods. Whenever there is excessive rain, whenever there is more rain and the water breaks from this river, the waterfalls or the lakes and the springs, and when the water overflows, what happens? It brings bigger and bigger misfortune that we had already experienced for the last 3 years in our small Kerala. We have experienced the floods. So it also brings great misfortune. Misfortune means great. It brings great bad luck to us. Though the water is important, sometimes it causes small misfortune if it breaks in floods. So I would like to add one more point to this, one more line to this poem, as the words of Nani. And what happens if we don't get rain at all? What happens if we don't get rain and if there is shortage of water? We have already seen the whole poem. The water is important for all of us. But if we don't get water, just as overflow of water, it results in floods, and shortage of water results in drought, and we won't be able to live and the plants won't be able to grow it. So certain misfortune this water brings, and if it takes care of this nature so well, I am sure that the nature will bless us with enough water that we require, and it will never end up with any sorts of misfortune as floods or the droughts. Hope you have enjoyed this poem. Now let's see what we are going to learn in this whole chapter. So the first, as in the poem that what we had seen, we are going to learn the uses of water and the sources of water, both natural and man-made, and forms of water, just as we have already seen in that poem, the forms of water, and where do we store these water, and the importance, as we already seen in this poem, water is so important. So it's very important to conserve, save this water. And as in the poem we had seen the 2 misfortune, so we need to discuss about those 2 misfortunes too in this chapter. Today we are going to discuss only about the importance of water. And you know the uses of water. We use water for drinking, washing, brushing, bathing, cooking, and watering plants. All these things you have already learned in the lower classes, something that's very familiar to us. And we already discussed all living things need water to survive. All living things need water to live. Just see, animals need water to drink, to clean themselves, and some animals totally live in water. We have already learned aquatic animals. Plants need water to grow and to make food and to live. We already seen, no? The plants also need water to live. Just as what you see in this picture, the plant grows and makes food, and the plants live only because of this water. Now let's find out what are the other uses of water. You have already mentioned some of its uses. Just what you see in this picture, the water is used for irrigation. What is meant by irrigation? To water the plants in a large scale. So you just see, just as in this picture, with the sprinkler, this large area is being watered, and that is known as irrigation. So water is used for irrigation, and water is also used for farming. Lots of crops grow only in water, and we need water to grow crops. Now what do you see here in this picture? This picture you can see the few people being put out the fire by using water. So the water is also used as fire extinguisher, or we use water to put out fire. And this is something that is very familiar. You must have seen it for the construction. To build these buildings, we need water. So water is also used for construction. So these are the other uses of water: for irrigation and for farming, put out fire, and for the construction purposes, we need water. Hope you have enjoyed the session and thorough with the uses of water. Go through that poem and prepare yourself for our next online session. Meanwhile, enjoy the rain, which is the main source of water for all of us. Thank you.